Hi everyone, Danny here with Ground State Tarot, coming to you with the Lunar New Year Fire Horse main energy for 2026 for ISFJ Defenders using the 16 personalities test, which I will include a link to when I post the video up. And just as a reminder, the Fire Horse energy this year carries with it a flavor, so to speak, of boldness, action, passion, momentum. It could be chaotic. It can be rebellious. If it can be impulsive, erratic. If you don't keep it in check, it can burn out and just kind of like burn the whole forest down kind of energy. So it's very important this year to really find ways to ground that energy, direct that energy, contain that energy without tamping it down too much. It's going to require balance for sure. And as a reminder, the first card that I will be showing you will be your optimal energy. The second card will be your suboptimal energy. The third will be your point of stagnation this year. The fourth is the way through. The fifth is the advice for the assertive types. And the sixth card will be the turbulent type advice. And without further ado, here we go. So we begin your year with arrogance, get off the pedestal from the Divine Dog Wisdom Oracle. And we get the doghouse from the Peanuts deck, which I'll get into later. So using this one, arrogance, get off the pedestal as an anchor, we're going to now turn to your cards and give you a sense of what you have going this year. So, interestingly enough, you need to lean into the energy of the Death card this year as your optimal energy. And let me explain. This is going to get super counterintuitive, so I need you to pay attention and follow along. The Death card is not the card of literal death. Very rarely is it signifying literal death. You would have had to have asked that question and then have gotten this as the answer if you were asking about someone or your own mortality. And first of all, you probably don't want to be asking that question of yourself or others, first and foremost. So that's my explanation of the Death card. Having said all of that, think of this card as the card of the energy of recycling, regeneration, refreshment, rejuvenation, counterintuitively. If you look at the skeleton here, it's pretty much the skeleton of this dog. And with the butterfly on its nose, and with these beautiful, what are these? Lilies? Are these lilies? Yeah, those are lilies, I believe. And the sun in the background, it's really giving me this sense of having a positive approach to anything in your life that has become stagnant, anything that feels stuck, anything that feels like it's reached a dead end. It behooves you to stay humble this year, right? Especially with arrogance being our anchor. Stay humble this year and acknowledge the things that either need to be put to bed, need to be set aside, need to be cut off or completely ended or refreshed, rejuvenated, renewed. You will have to be the one to decide based on your intuition and on each specific situation, right? Some situations might require a complete cutting off. Others might require a simple refreshing, recommitment, that sort of thing. You'll have to be the one to use your intuition to apply that, map that onto your life. With the Ace of Pentacles as your suboptimal energy and the King of Wands as the point of stagnation, it's telling me that there is truly a risk this year of leaning into arrogance, leaning into being a little too full of yourself, and jump starting something, a relationship, an endeavor, a project, a new health goal, whatever it is. You run the risk of starting it before you should, before having done your due diligence, before gathering all of the information that you need to do, before taking the time to prepare yourself to launch on whatever it is that you're looking to launch. So it really is asking you to take pause and to be a little bit more grounded in and humble in your energy this year, and understanding that not everything requires a quick and impulsive, leaning on erratic starting or initiation. You really need to be cool, calm, collected this year when you approach anything that requires that sort of leadership and vision to not only begin but see all the way through, because this King of Wands is telling me that you indeed like being the visionary, the leader, the defender, right? You like being in charge in that way. You like being someone who is looked at for guidance and, again, leadership. But with this arrogance card, it's telling me that you might not be ready to start, again, a new relationship, a new job, a new health routine without first going, this is the way through now. This is the Six of Cups. This is the card of looking towards the past, healing the past, having a sense of nostalgia. This is the inner child, healing the inner child. This is also the universe gifting you something because of what you've been through in the past, making up for any sort of ill situation or ill feelings or oppressive feelings, hurt feelings from the past, making up for them, right? So it's really telling me that you need to close out a cycle here, honor it, be humble to it, give it the time that it requires to close it out with dignity, with integrity. You don't want to just ram through whatever this was and pretend that it didn't last as long as it did, or that it didn't influence your life as much as it did, because again, with this being the Death card, and soon we'll see we have the Lovers and the Moon, there's something significant happening here that requires your participation and your dedication, but also your humility and your respect and your compassion, because something has to either end or be refreshed, but not before it should. There's a time factor to this. And there's also, again, an element of going back to the past momentarily to propel yourself forward, but with the interest of healing the past, letting the past rejuvenate, come to an end, whatever it has to, before you start this new endeavor with that fire, with that passion, with that charisma, with that sense of seeing it all the way through, leading it all the way through. With the advice for the assertive types being the Two of Swords, it's again really driving home this idea of taking the time to pause, to reevaluate, to appreciate, to contemplate. Not so much necessarily reevaluate, but more so contemplate, reflect before you move forward, because this is typically the card of an impasse, indecision, immovable, not knowing what to do next, where to go from here. But as the advice, it's really telling me that you need to actually appreciate this pause, appreciate this liminal space, this in-between before starting something new and closing out the old. You need to appreciate the wisdom that comes with this moment of reflection, whether it was your dreams that didn't completely come to fruition, or something that did, and it cycled through, and now it's time to let it go. Whatever it is, You need to take the time to reflect and contemplate before knowing how to move forward or even when to move forward to jumpstart this. And with the moon being the advice for the turbulent types, it's telling me that you really need to be careful not to lean into this arrogance, especially because the King of Wands is the arrogant card. It's the narcissistic card. It's the being full of himself or herself card, externally so, in a way that's like so external and imposing and to the point of being obnoxious, right? You need to watch that. And you need to be more willing to be self-aware, looking at your own reflection, your ideas, your actions, your dreams, your fears, being willing to revisit the past, revisit anything that's held you back and heal it. Give it the compassion, the love, the attention that it requires, right? The focus, the compassion, honoring all of that before being able to initiate this new thing. And with the Lovers on the bottom of the deck, it's telling me a couple of things. It's telling me that this is indeed about making a choice to move forward after this cycle ends, honoring this cycle, closing out this cycle the right way, the dignified way, the honorable way. It's doing so from a place of a higher perspective, higher self, integration, uniting opposing elements within you to be able to reconcile this indecision, impasse, inability to see clearly, be able to do that. And I'm going to give you a little preview. For some of you, there's an actual relationship trying to come through. Once you close out something, you have to close this thing out first. You cannot be arrogant and not keep other people's feelings or other situations in mind before starting something new. This could also be a job. This doesn't have to be a relationship. It could be bonding with a new boss, a new team, a new project, new business, that sort of thing. So this is really, again, about learning to honor a cycle that is trying to complete itself this year, knowing that it is necessary and it is proper and it is okay for this to end or to be reevaluated or refreshed, because that's the optimal energy this year. It's actually addressing these cycles, confronting these cycles with your intuition intact, with your intuition coming from a place of healing, from a place of wanting to reconcile the past with the future, to know how to move forward. And with the doghouse message from the Peanuts, let's see what this is telling us. Doghouse. I'm getting a couple of things. Okay, so a structure almost as memorable as the dog it houses, the doghouse reminds you to cherish your home. This simple red structure may seem like just a resting place for Snoopy. However, it embodies how limitless our imaginations are. After all, this is the Flying Aces fighter jet, a winning decorated holiday chalet, a pop pet theater, and a storage space for all the best costumes out there. When you're truly relaxed in your space, your mind can take you anywhere, and your home can adapt to whatever you may need. The doghouse reminds us to make a space where we feel the most comfortable, a place where we feel most ourselves, so we can be the best and most fantastic version of who we are. So this is giving me, it's a nuanced message. It's not talking specifically about a house, a literal house. It's giving me the vibe of talking about your body and appreciating what you're given, especially with this death card. appreciating the body that you're given, because that's the body that you use to engage with the world, right? So whether it's engaging in a relationship, engaging at work, engaging with your friends, engaging with yourself, and engaging with that body, it's important to not put yourself in the doghouse or let others put you there, right? When you're not fully integrated, when you're not reconciling your shadow and your light side. Typically, when we get put in the doghouse, either putting ourselves there or someone else putting us there, it's because we've leaned too much into arrogance, into narcissism, self-centered behavior, that sort of thing. So it's really driving home, no pun intended, this idea of treating your body as a temple, treating it as something that requires respect, dignity, honor, and by the same token, respecting others' homes / bodies, and really becoming aware of how you interact relationally with those around you, with the people around you, the situations, the environments, and really staying humble to life.